are going to be working on a math concept. We are going to be working with algebraic equations today, okay? So, the learning goal for this lesson is going to be up here. You're always going to see it up here on the board. It is learn the terms, evaluate, variable, and algebraic equation, I'm sorry. So, we are going to learn what these terms mean. What do they mean, okay? And then we are also going to be working on solving some algebraic equations, okay? We're gonna watch a quick little short video on how to do that. So first things first, what we're going to be going over are these terms, okay? So if you look over here, I did write them down. The first term is right here, evaluate. Second term, variable. And then the third term, algebraic equation, okay? So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna take out a piece of paper. You have some on your desk, on your table. So make sure you write your name, top right hand corner, first and last name. Thank you. Okay, I do have some highlighters for you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first write down the first term, which is going to be, Zariah, what's the first term? Evaluate. We're going to write that down, and then we're going to highlight it, okay? So go ahead and write your first and last name. Make sure you write the first term.
So you're going to get the long.
Go ahead and write number 1. Evaluate. And then you're going to go ahead and highlight that first term. Good job. Do you have highlighter? There you go. Okay. So evaluate means to determine or calculate the value of, okay? So when you're doing math problems, sometimes in the worksheets you're going to see, can you evaluate this problem? Can you evaluate the following expression? So evaluate just means to solve and to determine what the value of that number or term is, okay? So go ahead and write down that the meaning of the definition of that term evaluate. Good job. Okay, you're still writing, it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the second term. The second term, the second word is variable, okay, variable. And that means a letter used to represent an unknown number. So as you're working with algebra, and you have to solve problems, you are going to be seeing that there are variables in your worksheets. So for example, you'll have X, Y, M, N, E, sometimes A, any letter, know that that letter represents a number, okay? So it stands for a number. Go ahead and write down the term and then write the definition. Make sure you highlight the term for variable as well. Okay, if you're still writing, it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the last term, algebraic equation. Okay, algebraic equation, and that's just a fancy way of saying it's just a math equation that contains a variable. So right here we have an example, x plus 5 equals 10. Okay, another example would be y plus 3 equals 15. So the variable here would be x, because remember we said it's a letter that represents a number. We don't know what that number is. When we solve the equation, we'll figure out what that number is, but for now, it's just a variable. Here we have y plus 3 equals 15. Again, the y stands for a number that we need to solve for, okay? So right here, these are just algebraic equations that contain a variable that we need to solve, okay? So that is what we're gonna be working on today. So now that we met this goal, we've learned what the terms are, evaluate variable and algebraic equation. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started now that you know what each of those means. When you get your worksheet, you're going to be able to determine what each of these means and how it translates to your worksheet. If you're still writing, it's okay, continue to work. I'm gonna go ahead and pass out the worksheet we're gonna be working with, okay? Yes, make sure you do write down the examples on your paper after you write algebraic equation. There's 2 examples there given. Make sure you write those examples down. All right, so before we jump into our worksheets, I do want to play a quick little short video for you guys so you can visually see how we are going to be solving these equations. Okay, now that you know what each term means, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, and that is, how do we solve these? What are the steps on solving these, okay? Trinity, you might have to flip your term just a little bit. The projector is going to be playing the video. It's just a quick short video, you guys. So just make sure you are watching the steps carefully that he is using on how to solve the equation. After this, we're going to go ahead and jump onto our worksheet and we'll figure out a couple together, and then you'll get a chance to complete some on your own, okay?
Discuss how to solve one-step equations. And as you can see, there are 6 problems on your screen that we're going to go through in order to get this done. Now up top, I have a hint we need to remember as we go through these problems. So we're going to do the opposite or inverse operation of whatever is being done to the variable in order to get the variable by itself. Now, that may not make any sense at first, but as we go through these problems, you'll start to see what I mean by that. Again, main goal is getting the variable by itself. And just to reiterate, inverse means opposite. It means to do the opposite. So addition, the inverse would be subtraction. Multiplication, the inverse would be division. So.
Okay, so I just want to quickly pause it and just kind of go back on what he was saying. So here, when we want to solve these one-step equations, we do the opposite or inverse. Inverse means opposite, okay? Operation of what is being done to the variable in order to get it. So, for example, he said here we would do the opposite. What is the opposite of subtraction? Addition. What about number 2? What is the opposite of division? Nevea. Multiplication. So you would do the opposite in order to find the, what is this called, Andres? What did we say?
Variable.
Yes, good job, variable. Okay,
So let's jump right into number 1 here and see how we solve one-step equations. So for number 1, we have x minus 6. So we need to take a look at what we're doing to the variable x, our missing piece. And we're subtracting 6. So we need to do the opposite. So that would be adding 6. So we need to add 6 to that side. And the reason we do that, because we have x minus 6 plus 6, the minus 6 plus the 6 gives us 0, essentially canceling those 6's out. So we're just left with x. That gives us the x by itself. Now, in order to keep that equation balanced, we have to do the same thing to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we added 6 to the left, so we need to add 6 to the right. So 13 plus 6 gives us 19. So x equals 19. And we always double check to see if this makes sense and our answer for the variable is correct. So let's plug in 19 for our x here. 19 minus 6 equals 13. And that is true, it is correct. I'm even going to come to the side here, plug it in. 19 minus 6 equals 13. That is true, so we're good to go. We have the correct answer for 1.
so I did want to point out really quick, once he solved his equation and he figured out what the x stood for, he went ahead and plugged it in. So we determined that x was equals 19. He substituted 19 here for that x, minus 6, and it gave him 13. That is one way that you can check your problems to make sure that you got the correct answer. Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
X equals. Let's take a look at number 2. We have k divided by 8 equals 2. So what are we doing to the variable k? Well, we're dividing by 8. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get rid of the dividing 8. So we need to multiply by 8. K divided by 8 times 8, well, those 8's would equal 0 or cancel out. So k is by itself. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other to keep everything balanced. So we get to the point where k is by itself. K equals, well, 2 times 8 is 16. K equals 16. Let's see if that's true. Let's plug in 16 for k. 16 divided by 8 equals 2. So k indeed does equal 16. Let's take a look at number 3. Now here we have the answer on the left-hand side and our variable on the right. That's okay, that happens in algebra sometimes. So we're adding 3 to g. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get g by itself. So we need to subtract 3, and we need to do it to both sides. So we get g equals 13. Now I always like to rewrite with the variable first. G equals 13. And let's double check. Does 3 plus 13 equals 16? Yes, so we have the correct answer for the variable. Number 4, we have 15 equals 5m. Now a number right next to a variable or a letter means multiplication. So we're multiplying by 5 here. So the opposite of multiplying by 5 would be dividing by 5. That would give us our m by itself. And then I put it in fractional form, and fractions are division here. That means divide by 5. So do it to both sides. So we have the m by itself, and then 15 divided by 5 gives us 3. So n equals 3. Let's double check. 5 times 3 does equal 15, so we have the correct answer there. Number 5, we have 2r equals 22. So we're multiplying by 2. Again, number next to a letter means multiplication. So we need to divide both sides by 2. That gives us r by itself, and 22 divided by 2 equals 11. So r equals 11. Let's double check. 2 times 11 does equal 22, so we're good to go there. Number 6, 11 equals w divided by 4. So we're dividing by 4. Opposite would be multiplying by 4. So let's multiply by 4 to get w by itself. And then whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other in order to keep everything balanced. So we end up with an answer of 44 for the value of w.
Okay, so he went over a good amount of problems. Can you guys tell me on a scale from 1 to 5 using your fingers, how helpful was this video? 5 being it was really helpful, 1 being it was okay. Show me with your hands. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you guys. I just wanted to show that to you before we jump into the worksheet. So go ahead and start writing down your name on your worksheets that I gave you. Okay, so now that we have mastered this whole here, we're going to focus on this learning goal, which is to evaluate the algebraic equations, okay? So now that we know what each of those terms mean, we're gonna go ahead and start figuring out how to solve them. That is the next step, okay? So number 1, can someone read to me number 1? Trinity. X plus 12 equals, and what does x equal at the very top? 9. So here, they're giving us not the answer, but they're giving us what the variable equals, okay? So, what do you guys think we have to do in order to solve this? If we know what the variable equals, what do you think we need to do? What is the first step? What do you think, Trinity? Yes, add. I love how you're using the terms. You're gonna add the variable into the equation. Good job. And what did the variable equal, Nevaeh? 9. Did I put 3? 9. So then that would be 9 plus 12 equals what, Zariah? 21. And that is our answer. Yep. Go ahead and write down these steps on your paper for number 1, please. You need an eraser? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and write down number 2. Number 2 says, when x equals 9, we have 20 plus x. Okay, so Trinity earlier had said that we plug in the variable into the equation. So we're gonna go ahead and follow that step. We have 20 plus 9 equals, what does that give us, Andres? 29. Good job. Okay, so now you guys are going to go on your own and figure out the rest of this worksheet. You're going to pretty much be given the same variable, and it's going to be up at the top where it says x equal. You're going to go ahead and plug that variable in, and I want you to work on numbers 1 through 5 for A, for part A. Do you all see part A? Do 1 through 5, and then for part B, you're gonna do 11 through 15. I'll write that on the board. So for part A, we already did 2 together, so go ahead and finish 1 through 5. For part B, we're gonna do 11 through 15, and I'm gonna walk around and monitor you guys and see how you're doing. And once you finish that, you will have an assessment on your Edmentum Exact Path. Okay, so I did assign that to all of you. If you did not bring your Chromebook, it's okay. You can continue working on the worksheet. If you did bring your Chromebook, you can go ahead and jump on there and complete that assessment. Any questions? No? Okay. Yes, you can use scratch paper. You can use scratch paper or just write on the worksheet if you need it. You can check your answers if you would like. What about number 5, huh? We're gonna have to go over that. They gave us an extra number there. Okay, raise your hand if you finished number 5 for part A. back to number 5. Once we're all there.
Actually, I like learning about patient science. I never really cared to do this.
Did you bring your copy, Trinity? All right, so go back to part A really quick and look at number 5.
That isn't supposed to be in here until after math.
Sergio, can you read to me that problem,
So
please?
that's the wrong spot, so makes sense.
Plus 14 minus 15.
X equals 1. Okay, so we have more than just one step here, right? What is the first step that you did, Nevaeh?
So the, like for everything,
So you plugged in the 9 first,
that's the only thing you have now, is straight street.
and what did you get? 23. What was the next step that you did?
I'll just make you happy.
25, oh, sorry. You said what, 23?
It's better for you to have, because you don't see my both days, so it's easier for you.
Minus what? 15. And what did you get? 8. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you followed the same steps or you did it a different way.
I'd say, because if you want to maybe it's easier.
Did you do it a different way? No?
I
You did the same steps? Okay, good job. That is correct. All right, so you can go ahead and continue working. If you finish these, you can move on to the other ones. I am going to pass out multiplication charts just in case you need that. And as soon as you finish, make sure you turn it into the Dropbox, or my basket, I'm sorry. And then it should be time to go. So continue working. Make sure you also turn in the terms link as well. Okay? Yes. Yes. Just make sure you finish it first. The rest. All right, so as soon as you are finished, you can go ahead and pack up. If you're still working, it's okay. Pack up and then make sure you drop off your worksheets in the back. Yep, you can go ahead and keep that. Thank you, Nevaeh.